Women will have achieved true equality when men share with them the responsibility of bringing up the next generation. A quote by Ruth Bader Ginsburg. To this day, the debate over women's rights in America is still an ongoing matter. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is widely regarded as a feminist icon. She was the first Jewish woman to become a Supreme Court justice and the second woman in history to be appointed to that position. As I quoted, she was an advocate for women's rights as well as civil rights, although at the time it was unpopular. Today I would like to pay tribute to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I will share her early struggles coming from a low-income Jewish family, her many accomplishments, and the impact she made as a Supreme Court justice, which would later lead her to be inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame. Today I will be discussing her upbringing as a second-generation Jewish woman in America. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, born Ruth Joan Bader, was born into a low-income, working-class neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York. According to the editors of the biography website, Britannica, published September 22, 2020, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was born March 15, 1933 in Brooklyn, New York. As a young adult, she excelled in school and regularly attended synagogue to practice her faith. Though losing both sisters before graduating high school, one to meningitis and the other to cancer, she was accepted into Cornell University on a full scholarship due to her academic excellence. The first semester at Cornell, she met her future husband, Martin Ginsburg, who became a prominent tax attorney and encouraged Ruth in her intellectual pursuits. Martin and Ruth were married in June 1954, just shortly after graduating Cornell. After her husband was drafted in the U.S. Army, they had their first daughter, Jane. As a mother, she was a caregiver not only to her daughter, but to her husband Martin, who had testicular cancer at the time. Ruth began her studies at Harvard Law School. During this time, she served on the editorial staff of Harvard Law Review. She was the first woman to serve in this position as well. After her husband's recovery, she finished her legal education at Columbia Law School, serving on the Law Review and graduating at the top of her class. Next, I will discuss her successes that led her to becoming a Supreme Court judge. Although Ginsburg had excellent credentials, at first she struggled finding employment as a lawyer because she was a woman and also the fact that she was a mother. One of Ginsburg's Columbia Law professors vouched on her behalf, which helped convince Judge Edmund Pillimary of the U.S. District Court to offer Ginsburg a clerkship. This would be her launchpad to success. She was hired several years later by Rutgers School of Law, where she earned tenure despite having to conceal her second pregnancy of her son James, in fear that her contract would not be renewed at Rutgers. In 1970, Ginsburg became a professionally involved gender equality advocate and was asked to oversee a law student panel on women's liberation. Ginsburg partnered with ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, to draft briefs in two federal cases, one being an Idaho state law that preferred men to women in determining who should deal with the estates of people who die without a will. And in 1972, she became a founding council of the ACLU's Women's Right Project, co-authored a law school casebook on gender discrimination. During the decade, she argued before the Supreme Court 6 times, winning 5 cases. In 1980, President Jimmy Carter appointed Ginsburg to U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. By 1993, she delivered the Madison Lecture at NYU Law School, critiquing Roe v. Wade, which was a famous case in which the Supreme Court found a constitutional right of women to choose to have an abortion. In June 1993, U.S. President Bill Clinton announced his nomination of Ginsburg to replace retiring justice in the Supreme Court. Early in her tenure on the court, She wrote The Majority's Opinion in the United States v. Virginia, where the Virginia Military Institute held a men-only admission policy in a state-run university. She won this, which was one of her biggest accomplishments. In 2007, she advocated two decisions concerning women's rights, one being Gonzalez v. Carhart, which upheld the federal Partial Birth Abortion Act on a 5-4 vote. Similarly, in Ledbetter v. Goodyear Tire, Ginsburg criticized a majority holding that women could not bring a federal civil suit against her employer for having paid her less than a man, which ended in another 5-4 decision in the court. Now that you've heard of Ginsburg's successes of becoming a Supreme Court judge, I will discuss the legacy she left behind. Though many struggles she endured being a woman, a mother, a wife, she was inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame in 2002. Though some liberals argued that she should retire due to her advanced age and health conditions, which she survived cancer twice, she remained on the court for as long as possible. She was able to perform her job at what she quoted, full steam. She was noted as being direct and outspoken when in court, concluding her dissents with the phrase, "I dissent," rather than the conventional, "I respectfully dissent," which she deemed unnecessary. Under the Obama administration from 2009 to 2017, because of her outspokenness, she became a progressive and feminist folk hero. An inspired law student at New York University created a blog titled Notorious R.B.G., which was a play off the stage name of American rapper Christopher Wallace, or Notorious B.I.G., and this became a popular name for her admirers. Notorious R.B.G., after going viral, led to a best-selling biography by the same name. Later, a documentary film, R.B.G., and also a Hollywood dramatization of her life on the basis of sex would cement her images as a crusader of women's rights. Ginsburg remained a Supreme Court justice until she died at the age of 89. Ginsburg's work opened many opportunities for women in America and inspired many to fight gender equality with her. Though coming from the slums of Brooklyn, she rose to become a champion of women's rights in the highest court of America. Through her efforts and determination, she shows that if you are willing to put in the work, anyone, especially women, can change the world for the better. That is why Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, her drive and determination deserves tribute as a pioneer for women's rights.